You know, the T20 World Cup is supposed to be one of cricket's biggest parties, but right now, it's on the verge of total chaos. We're talking about a potential boycott, some really explosive accusations, and a diplomatic standoff that's threatening to tear the whole tournament apart. So let's get into how one single player ended up at the center of this massive international firestorm.
So, here's the big question, right? Why would a major team like Bangladesh even think about boycotting the World Cup, especially when it's being hosted by their incredibly powerful neighbor, India? Well, the answer isn't simple. It's this really volatile mix of rivalries on the field, what they see as major security threats off the field, and, of course, a whole lot of national pride.
All right, to really get a handle on how we got to this point, we need to look at two things. First, who are the big organizations calling the shots? And second, what was that one specific moment that just lit the fuse on this whole thing?
Okay, so at the heart of all this, you've got three main groups. You've got the BCB, the board that runs everything cricket in Bangladesh. Then there's the BCCI, which is their counterpart in India, and they are immensely powerful. And watching over both of them is the ICC, the global governing body for the whole sport. Honestly, the power struggle between these three is what this whole story is really about.
So this whole conflict really kicked off with just one decision: the early release of star bowler Mustafizur Rahman from his team in the Indian Premier League. Now, this wasn't some mutual friendly agreement. The move was reportedly forced by the Indian board, the BCCI. And for Bangladesh, this felt like a deliberate humiliation, a public slap in the face that turned a pretty tense situation into a truly volatile one. Just as things were really starting to simmer, the whole situation just exploded. A Bangladeshi sports advisor went public with an absolute bombshell. He revealed the alleged contents of a security letter that came directly from the ICC. And believe me, what was supposedly in it was just shocking.
Look, this was not your standard security heads-up. The advisor claimed the letter laid out three incredibly specific and really politically charged triggers. The first, just having Mustafizur Rahman on the team. The second was a warning against Bangladeshi fans wearing their own national jerseys while in India. And the third, get this, linked the team's security to Bangladesh's own internal election cycle. I mean, these are conditions you'd expect in a high-stakes political negotiation, not a cricket tournament.
The reaction was, as you can imagine, fast and furious. The advisor went public and just slammed these alleged demands, calling them absurd, unrealistic, and unreasonable. The message couldn't have been clearer. Bangladesh felt like they were being strong-armed, forced to compromise on their team selection, and even how their fans could show national pride, all just for the privilege of playing. But then, right when it seemed like the battle lines were drawn, the official story got, well, a lot messier. The Bangladesh Cricket Board itself stepped in, and they released a statement that seemed to completely contradict their own advisor, which, as you can guess, created a whole lot of confusion.
So the BCB's official statement pretty much walked back everything their advisor had said. They claimed the communication wasn't some formal warning from the ICC, but just an informal chat between security departments. And crucially, they insisted no final decision had been made about moving their matches. So what one man was calling a direct threat, the board was suddenly trying to frame as just a simple misunderstanding.
Which of course brings us to the central question that's now hanging over this entire World Cup. What did the ICC actually say? Was this a formal, serious security directive, or was it just an informal conversation that got completely blown out of proportion?
So now we're left with two totally different stories. On one side, you have the advisor insisting that the letter had explicit warnings about Mustafizur Rahman and fans wearing their jerseys. And on the other side, you have the ICC, who reportedly denies it, calling those claims false. This he said, she said situation at the very highest levels of the sport just shows you how politically charged this whole thing has become.
So why should we really care about a dispute between a bunch of cricket administrators? Well, because this standoff has implications that go way, way beyond the cricket field. This is about so much more than just a game.
The stakes here are just immense. This isn't just about cricket matches anymore. This is about the integrity of the World Cup itself. It could seriously damage the relationship between the BCB, the BCCI, and the ICC for years to come. And it's inflaming national pride in both Bangladesh and India, risking a genuine diplomatic incident between two neighboring countries.
So, where does all of this leave us? Well, right now, it's a total stalemate. Bangladesh has formally put in a request to have its matches moved out of India. Discussions are happening, but the ICC still hasn't made a final decision.
With the World Cup getting closer and closer, the entire sport is just waiting and watching to see what happens next.
Ultimately, what we're really looking at is this deeply complex web, where the lines between sport, security, and national pride have become hopelessly, totally blurred.
And it leaves us all with a pretty provocative question, one that applies to so many things happening in the world today. In a world that's this interconnected, where exactly does sport end and politics begin?